So if you did the reading, you have a pretty good idea now that we're talking about businesses, and we're going to get into a lot of the math of that. So today I want to introduce some of the concepts, and of course I really recommend that you take some notes. This is going to lead us to some what I call tricky problems. They're not super tricky, but they are some math problems that you're going to have to do, so please listen carefully. All right, so I'm going to start with just a problem about you. So let's say next year you're in college and you're living away and you've got to buy some laundry soap. And you have two choices. So let me put this up. Here are your two choices for some laundry soap. Oh, that's bleeding through. All right, sorry. You can pay $3 or you can pay $4. Which one are you going to buy? Now, hopefully you're saying to yourself, what a stupid question that is. Obviously, $3 is less than $4, but I don't know how big the package is. Exactly. As an economist, you want to know about efficiency. So now I will tell you that the $3 one is a 15-ounce package, and the $4 one is a 32-ounce package. I guess these are bottles. All right, so which is your better deal? Well, the better deal is going to be not $3 or $4, our totals, but average. And I've done the math for you, and you can see that the $3 bottle is 20 cents an ounce, and the $4 bottle is 12.5 cents an ounce. So clearly, the more expensive one is your better deal. Okay, that is a very brief explanation of really what we're going to be doing here for, I don't know, the next month. It's really about not totals, even though you'll have to do totals, it's about average, okay, or marginal, which we'll get to eventually. But the point is, you're going to do some breakdown, just like we did with comparative advantage, just like we did with margin utility, and really average, that's going to be our big thing, working with averages. So there's my little example. Don't take the obvious answer, know that there's going to be another one that comes along. Okay, now I'm going to put another piece of paper up here, write all this down, and I'll kind of talk through it. This is our basic question that we're going to be dealing with, like I said, really for about the next month. Okay, here we go. First of all, profit equals total revenue minus total cost. That's what I have written at the top. Again, profit equals total revenue minus total cost. Profit equals total revenue minus total cost. What does that mean? Well, profit's what you get to keep. That's the bottom line. That's what every business wants, what you want. But there are costs involved. There's a way to get to that amount. So we take all the revenue, that's the money that's coming in, the income, subtract off the costs, and we're going to have a special cost here because we're economists, and we'll be left with profit. Okay, so that's one idea. Now, the second concept, which goes right along with that, is this one: what quantity produces or produced will give the highest profit? As always, it's about quantity. What quantity produced will give the highest profit? Question mark. As always, it's about quantity. So the other thing we're going to be doing, other than a lot of averages, is we're going to try and identify what quantity a business can produce that will give us the highest profit. Now, as a giveaway, it's not the most quantity. It's not simply the most quantity. And again, we can rewind this if that was too fast. Why isn't it the highest quantity? Well, because you run into costs. Ford could make 3 million cars a day if they wanted to, but it'd be really expensive and they probably wouldn't make a lot of profit. So it's not just make the most you can. There is sort of a balance that goes in there, and there really is a lot to this, as you'll see as we go through it. Okay, all right, I'll hold this up one more time if you missed it. Profit equals total revenue minus total cost. Our question is going to be what quantity produced will give us the highest profit. And as far as the class goes, it's always going to be about quantity. Okay. Now, we're going to do some math here. I'm going to continue with some very basic numbers and some explanation. You theoretically read all about this anyway, so it should be a review. And the final thing that I want to tell you that's maybe good is eventually we're going to just be doing some very theoretical graphs that I think is easier than the math. The graph will actually give us the answer. So unlike those other problems that we did at our reference comparative advantage and margin utility, a lot of this is going to be doing a graph or reading a graph, and you're like, aha, this is what you produce. So don't fret. It actually is pretty easy once we get through all of it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about revenue here. Revenue is the income you get from selling something. So the example that I'm going to use is you get this great idea to sell bottled water. You're going to buy it at Costco, presumably cheap, and then you're going to go sell it at a hot weather event, okay? And people are going to be dying for water, so you should be able to sell what you buy. So the question is, well, how much water should I get? Well, we got no revenue and we got no costs. Revenue, as a formula, equals price times quantity. So there's a really simple example. Every firm is going to have one product and they're going to sell it at one price. So get that top part written down. Assume that firms sell just one product and it's always at the same price. Now that's just going to make this simple. Obviously it's an oversimplification. I read once that Ford sells 172 different versions of the F-150. I mean, how do they keep track of all the costs and the revenue there? 172 different versions with all the options and different things you can do. This is not the real world. This is a high school class, so we're going to have one product, bottled water in this case, at one price, which I think is going to be $1. That's what you're going to pay for it. Okay, so there's our example. One bottle of water is going to be $1. You sell 20. Well done. $1 times 20 equals $20. So that, in its simplest form, is how we do revenue. Price times quantity. Now, by the way, where does the average come in? Well, in a sense, price is average revenue. We never think of it that way, but it really is the average revenue. So take the average there. $20 is your total revenue, just like we did with the laundry soap. Now divide it by the number of units sold. That's how you do average, by the way. Total minus the quantity is average. Hopefully you do that. So $20 divided by 20 is $1. So in a sense, price is average revenue. Now, refreshingly, we're going to call it price. So that's always it. But it kind of will help to do some of our so-called tricky problems we'll do later to think of price as also being average revenue. Okay, I'm going to call this video number 1. Back in a moment.